Hi. I have been at work all day, but this will be my video for my digital media, like the final draft media production. Um yeah. So my research is about formal and informal language in Japan, and I chose this topic because when I'm watching anime, obviously, like, I know, like, there's a hierarchy kind of thing going on in Japan, but I'm not really too sure about that. And I know that, like, there are different, like, ways, like, you speak depending on, like, who you're talking to. I knew that much. I just wanted to get, like, more of an insight. So that's really my motivation for picking the topic that I did. The 5 questions that I asked my partner were obviously all relating to what's happening in Japan and stuff like that. So I asked her, like, when is it appropriate to talk casually with somebody, because I know there is a barrier when it comes to, like, speaking informally and formally to people. I also wanted to know, like, where do you actually learn all these speaking techniques, you know what I'm saying? So I also asked her about that because I wanted some insight, like, when do you actually learn, or do you just grow up, like, knowing, like, you have to speak this sort of way? And so I asked her questions, like, relating to that. Obviously, like, I know in Japan, like, calling each other by their last names, like their family names, are very common, and I wanted to know, like, when would be an appropriate time for you to drop that, like, in, like, the communication, like, area, you know what I'm saying? I also asked her about, why don't you speak informally to adults, because over here in America, like, it's very, like, widely seen, and as well as, I I had asked her, when is, like, the right circumstances for that, because, over here, like, when you work in, like, a restaurant, for example, it's very easy for a customer to talk very rudely to you. And I just wanted some insight on that, which I did, because she had told me that, like, there was this one time, I don't know if she was working at the place or, like, she was at the place, but this older person was speaking informally to a customer, and, like, he was working there, and, like, she told me all about that, and, like, those are in one of my questions. And she had mentioned, like, he was talking informally to the guest or the customer, and obviously the guest had the complaint, and they told, like, hey, like, this person is speaking informally to me, even though, like, I am the customer. The customer is always right, kind of thing. So yeah, I had asked her, when is it appropriate to be informal? If someone was being mean to you, would you still keep formal language with that person? And she told me, like, she was bullied when she was I don't know if it was high school or middle school, I kind of forgot, but she had told me, like, she got bullied, and that because she had spoken, like, informally to one of her, like, senpais, like, because as a kohai, you have to speak formally, like, it's like a hierarchy kind of thing. Yeah, so I got a lot of information from, like, her answers and stuff like that, especially with, like, how the older generations, like, I feel like she says, like, the new generations of people, like, are very more open to informally speaking, but it's mostly the older people that it's really hard to get them to understand, like, stuff like that. Yeah. What I learned from my KG partner, obviously from the questions that I asked her, there's a lot more that goes into, like, informally and formally speaking. Yes, there were, like, obviously, like, some language barriers. I guess there was some language barriers with her, but I feel like for the most part, it was fine. She told me about, obviously, how do I say this? She told me about, like, a lot of, like, how Japan is, and how, like, things are normalized in America is not usually normalized over here, especially with, like, the cursing. Cursing is very different from America from Japan than it is to America. And obviously, like, talking to somebody that's older, it's very, like, you have to be very careful and wary about it. But yeah, the media format that I chose is a magazine. I chose a magazine because, like, out of all the things that were listed, it seemed like the easiest. Obviously, that's not really the case, but I feel like, for what it's worth, I've learned to mess around back with Photoshop because I used to be in photography, and I'm kind of like relearning all my new ways because I forgot I used like half the tools. But it's also very fun to like look online, see like different like little characters to put in the magazine to make it really come to life and stuff like that. So I'm very excited to show people my magazine. Yeah, there's not really like any specific reason why I chose the magazine. I just felt like it was right. I mean, I like the way I'm structuring the magazine. I feel like that's really fun. No one's really given me any suggestions, so I don't know how to go about that question. If anything, I would say like the input from Sensei has very much helped me and guided me. But yeah. What should we pay attention to? The highlights for my final draft, I don't really know. Maybe just pay attention to like, you know, like what I'm talking about to really understand like informal Japanese. There's actually more to it than, you know, you might think. Obviously like the way like they speak in Japan it's been like this for a very long time, and like for something that's like been culturally like engraved, it is very hard to like step out of that, you know what I'm saying? From what I've seen, you know, over here we're very casual, we curse, and we are obviously like proper like when needed to, but in Japan it's very unheard of, you know, like they have a very clean and like very like tight society where like, you know, hierarchy is very important, and like the way you speak to somebody can really have an effect. Obviously that's everywhere, but in Japan it's just more like in the culture kind of thing, you know. So yeah, I'm very excited to show the magazine. And yeah, I will see you guys the next class. Thank you for watching. Sorry I look really stupid and I'm in my car. I've been working all weekend, and I'm also kind of posting this late, but yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.